Welcome to Liquid Courage, the podcast where I, Amanda Pereira, sit down with a fellow artist that I admire and ask them the questions I've never had the guts to ask them before. Sounds scary? Yeah, it really is. So I use a little liquid courage in the form of my guest's favorite drink. We cheers, chat, and connect as I attempt to soak up all the wisdom they have to offer. Today I sit down with Sarah Hillier and we drink some Caesars together. Sarah is a comedian and actor currently based out of Toronto. She's been awarded multiple Canadian Comedy Awards, including Best Female Improviser, and has also been awarded Best Female Improviser by Now Magazine. Sarah wrote and starred in 2 award-winning main stage shows at the Second City, Toronto, and her comedy album with comedy partner Inessa Frantowski, titled Inessa and Sarah Get You Through the Day, is available on iTunes and Spotify through Howl and Roar Records. You may recognize Sarah's acting and voice acting from credits like Odd Squad on PBS, Transformers BotBots on Netflix, and The Amazing Gail Pyle on Amazon and CBC. Her new podcast, The Funny Thing About Ghosts, a comedy podcast about ghosts and all things paranormal, just had its premiere yesterday, so check that out wherever you get your podcasts. So Sarah is a comedian, an actor, and someone I admire immensely. Okay, hi Sarah officially.
Hello.
Hello. This is a little surreal, Sarah, because I have thought very highly of you for like a decade, and I never initiate conversations with you because I'm too nervous. So this is...
I hope I don't put out a vibe.
Never.
I hope
never.
I put out an open vibe. Come talk to me.
I
think you're amazing. I always get a very fun, funny, comfy vibe from you. I'm always very comfortable around you.
I have that on recording, and that makes me feel so nice. No, you never give out an unwelcome vibe. You give out a very welcome, very funny vibe. I'm just always like, wow, she is so cool and so talented and so
thank you.
Herself, and I want to be that. And then I just
you are
shut her away. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Thank you.
We've talked a few times at your old place of work, current place of work, the Spaghetti Factory.
Oh, Spaghetti Factory. Yes.
Yes, I saw you a few times there.
Yes.
With my kiddos. And always
very
nice. And you and Andy have did you work together at some point or something?
I was trying to think about this, how I know your husband. I think it was like a day when I was working casting and maybe he came in to work as a reader.
Yeah, he did that a couple times.
Okay, so it must have been that. And then we discovered our shared love of reality TV, and now every time I see him, last time I saw him, just immediately he was like, "You caught up on Love Island?" Like, it's just always the go-to. Yeah. So when I found out that you also liked reality TV and it wasn't just Andy, I was like, yes, that's my in with her. And so I don't know if you noticed, but the last big party we were both at Second City, I was like, oh, Sarah, I'm going to talk to her about reality TV.
Oh, I just was probably like, yes, someone finally talking, because a lot of people out of my core group, my friend Jess probably watches it the most, but not everybody else. And I'm in on it. Love it. Takes your mind off what you do yourself, and you get entertainment of regular people.
Yeah, I
that
know.
aren't performers.
I feel that too, because I was trying to figure out why I enjoyed reality TV so much, and with a little bit of shame of the why, which I will throw that away. I need to stop judging.
No
shame. But the fact that, like you said, I feel like not a lot of my friends watch the shows that I'm watching too. I'm like, well, it doesn't help with the shame. But I was trying to figure out why do I enjoy it? And I think sometimes when I watch scripted TV, I love it, but I still feel like at work a little bit.
Yeah, well, I want to be on it. I'm like, I want this. Always. And I find with reality TV, it's just this total which TV should be in general for everybody, which I think it is for a lot of people. All TV. And some shows, I watch other TV too. I watch all the stuff. But I find, especially with reality TV, it just it's relaxing and it takes me out. And
yeah, same. Yeah. I don't really
overproduced reality TV. I don't watch. I don't watch The Housewives, because for me, it's a little overproduced. It's a little we're all gonna go on a boat today. Everyone's gonna go on a boat.
Yeah.
And now these are the things that we got to talk about on the boat. I need a little less production value.
Yeah. So, what are your favorite go-to ones that aren't produced? I do watch Real Housewives, But I also 100% understand what you're saying. I was just talking to someone about this, where it's like there are some that feel like this is a reality show and we're filming a reality show. Tomorrow we're filming on the boat. So what are like the go-to ones for you that you love that help you escape?
That help me escape. Biggest ones. I'm gonna say I love. I don't know. I like Bachelor. I used to love Bachelor. I don't watch the actual Bachelor anymore because I find they pick the worst men to be the Bachelors now. Yeah. But I watch Bachelorette. I watch Bachelor in Paradise. Those island shows. Love Island was amazing. Yes. I'm gonna watch F-Boy Island, the third season when it comes out. I watched watching a bit of the second season. It's not like Survivor. Love Survivor.
Yeah.
And like Traitors, there was this one called Traitors where it's like people have to like be mean to each other and kick people off secretly. Like, I'll watch any new one. Andy and I have this joke that, Drag Race. Gosh.
Of course.
Drag Race is number one. I'd say Drag Race is
I almost don't
probably
even see that as, I don't know why, but I don't even think of Drag Race as reality TV. Like, I think about it as like elevated. I don't know. Some of the competition shows where it's about a specific skill, like a Project Runway or Glow Up, or the one where you like blow glass, or Drag Race.
Blown Away.
Blown Away.
Yes, very good one. Very good.
My mind. Yeah, Blown
I've watched
Away.
all the seasons.
Me too. I just finished the new season of Glow Up, and I'm just like, maybe I'll try and do an eyeliner wing again. Like maybe I'll go crazy and try a ring.
Open my drink.
Open it. Yeah.
There we go.
Nice crack. I'm so glad that you chose Caesars for us because it feels like a little meal.
Yeah.
Like
Does anyone choose Caesars? Like, is Caesars a hot one?
I haven't had Caesars yet.
First Caesar?
You're the first Caesar in my life, Sarah. I mean,
first Caesar
in this podcast.
You've never had a Caesar?
No, I know. I was like, I need to be very clear. I love Caesars. Also, but I hadn't tried the dill one until you. Yeah, so first dill of my life.
Dill Caesar. I don't drink a ton. I eat gummies if I want to like hang out and have a laugh.
A laugh.
The THC gummies. They're legal.
Yeah, they're fully legal.
I do the 2.5 THC for 10 CBD in a gummy. Very low amount, but it's very nice. But I like a drink once in a while, and I find, because I get really bad heartburn for booze. So if it doesn't taste good, I don't want to drink it. I don't just drink things, and most booze to me taste bad. But these taste good.
They are so good. I'm the same. I'm like, I'm not going to, it needs to taste good or I don't want to drink it.
Yeah.
I mean, for these, I'm fine to taste something and be like, meh, not into it. But on a regular, if I'm just going out and having a drink, I'm not going to drink just for the effects of alcohol. I'm like, no.
Yeah, if you're going to spend $10 or $15 on a drink, I hate when I get a cocktail. I'm like, I'll try that one. And then it tastes so intensely of like whiskey or something. I'm like, what have I done?
And it's like as much as your entree, 100%. Yeah. I've been trying lately, because of reality TV, I've been trying espresso martinis, and I love the taste of coffee. And oh my God. Yum.
I did one. Do you find they keep you awake?
So that's the thing. Is like, I can't even have coffee after like 2 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine made me a decaf one, and that was great. That was chef's kiss. But you can't really get that at, I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming I can't get that at restaurants.
I mean, it probably depends on place. Like, I bet like maybe a bar isn't brewing some decaf
espresso. They don't have that. Yeah.
But maybe a restaurant. Maybe like a Joey. You know what I'm saying? Like a Joey restaurant would do that for you.
Just went to a Joey for the first time in maybe 10 years, I feel like.
I've never been to a Joey. I just feel like
it's so overpriced. And our server, bless him, I think it was his first day, which is fine. My friend and I, we just went to dinner, and then we were going to go to the Barbie movie, and we're having dinner. And when he walked away from taking our order, didn't write anything down. Fine, ambitious, totally respect it. Both of us were like, we have no confidence. Like, this isn't going well.
Yeah.
He did okay, but yeah, Joey, very overpriced. But you know what? I should have asked them for a decaf espresso martini because they're so fucking good. So yes, I do find that they would keep me up and that's why I don't understand. I always see on like Summer House and Winter House, the reality shows that like people are drinking them at dinners, or Real Housewives are doing. I think I'm just gonna do like brunch. I think it's a brunch drink.
Well, but those people on like Summer House, they got to do a lot of drugs too. So they're just they don't care about if they're staying. They want to stay up.
Yeah, they do.
They want to stay up all night. They want to shoot. One show that is a little produced like that I do watch is the new Kardashians. I didn't watch the old Kardashians, but I watched the new one. It's a little more documentary style than it used to be, but I do watch that. Sometimes it's boring, but
yeah. I'm actually with you. I didn't watch the old one, but then the new one came out on Disney Plus, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm curious, and it is, it does feel produced, but there's something. They just seem so outside of my world that it seems.
It feels like there's more genuine vibes. I do fast forward through the Kylie and Kendall stuff. Because that's just like, we're going to go ride horses. And I'm like, I don't care.
I'm going to teach her how to drive stick. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this for like 20 minutes. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Unless you're having a huge reveal during that, I'm out.
Yeah. I know I'm not super interested in most of the storylines, but there's a couple that keep me. And then just the fascination with how this family works. I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying about the documentary style of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Like, in one of the last episodes, Chris got really upset over some dollhouses that this woman had made for Christmas. And it was very, like, she broke a bit of her veneer.
Totally.
Of, like, and she just, like, railed into this poor woman who makes dollhouses. She's like, oh, this is awful.
This is so off. And like it wasn't even one dollhouse. She wanted like 7 individual unique, one for each identity of like her kids.
Yeah.
And I also was like,
she really gave it to the woman.
Like she did. She gave it to the woman, and I questioned like how many instructions did you really give her? I feel like it was just vague, and then she came in and just hated everything.
Like, this is awful. And it's like, it looks like a Christmas house to me, Chris.
Yeah, there's a lot of cute plaid, and there's some snow, and you're like, I want a Chanel little purse in the corner, or like, I want horses for Kendall. I'm like, how is this woman supposed to know? So,
and shows that she hasn't been in a crafting store in a long time.
Her whole life. I am watching Temptation Island right now. I don't know if you ever got into Temptation Island.
I think when it originally came out, there was years and years ago. The first season, I watched it a bit.
Yeah.
But I also watch all the ones on Netflix, but we'll get to those.
Oh, yes. Like the Ultimatum, Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. I keep checking. I keep forgetting when the Love is Blind premiere is happening, and I keep looking. And again, I fast forward through parts of it too. I fast forward through parts of every show.
But I think Traitor, that was one I fast forwarded through a lot, and I felt bad. I love Alan Cumming, but I was like, this is too much talking. Like, lots of talking. Yeah. And I had just seen The Mole on Netflix. I don't know if you saw The Mole, but that felt so much better than Traitor. That Traitor kind of.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Mole has a guy from one of the other Netflix shows about love, where they all were in the house.
Yes.
It was like shitty Perfect Match or something.
Yes, Perfect Match. Because he was from The Mole and went on Perfect Match. And did he also go on Traitor? I can't even remember.
No. Maybe now there's going to be a Canadian one.
I know. I was going to say. Yes, I know. Someone sent it and was like, Canadian you have to get on this. Oh, okay, yes. I will totally watch the Traitor Canadian version.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Well, then we'll have to check in talking about that too.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, I mean, I could talk to you about reality TV forever, and we might come back to it. I also want to talk to you about the TV that you make and that you are on. Okay, so first of all, I feel like you are killing it in the commercial world right now, Sarah Hillier. Like,
thank you.
I just feel like every commercial, I'm like, yep, she's being amazing again. Oh, she's being brilliant again. There, she's being funny again. Okay, so what is the key to nailing a commercial audition or a commercial self-tape? Like, help us out. How are you doing this?
I had this click recently with my agent where I was holding back because a long time I've been told I'm too broad. And then I was like holding back too much. And so I stopped doing that. I think I have performed long enough live. And that was when I was young. I went to LA because I got a manager in LA. And I went during pilot season, and he was awesome. There was a couple casting directors for, like, pilots that were, like, a little less broad, do it again, a little less broad, which is great. They let me do it again. But he was like, my manager, who I guess is still kind of my manager there, but I don't live there anymore. But he was like, but don't not be yourself. Like I have you for a reason because you are you. So I always had that. But I think I still like clenched it too much, and I didn't let my real personality show as much as I should. So then I just started doing that more and more. And that has helped me, I think. And what I found hard, though, with the pandemic is not being in the room because I'm an improviser. So I had to get over kind of that hump because I didn't book for a lot during that pandemic time because the connection I had and how I would book before was improvising inside the room, always, whether they like asked me to or not. So I think that would kind of set me apart sometimes because I would add something or something. But you can't do that in a self-tape because you don't know what that, or you do. And now I do that more, but I didn't because I was like also like very aware of how I looked at the beginning of doing self-tapes. And that really held me back. So I think I've just kind of broken free of a couple of those things personally, and that's helped me personally. I don't know. Yeah, that's lately. But there's not been a lot of auditions anyways because of the lockout. So.
Well, I think, like, I totally hear what you're saying, that it's for you personally, but I do think that whole idea of, like, just be yourself a bit more. Like, you might not appeal to every single person, but you're going to appeal more so to the right people for the right stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to teach this class in improv about confidence in improv specifically, but I have this whole, like, kind of thing about, like, well, why are we all doing this? Like, if we're going to hold back, if we're going to be nervous, then why are we even entertaining people? Like, ultimately, we're here for the audience. So, like, I try to think of that as much as possible of, like, well, I got to go for it because I got to entertain.
Gotta entertain. Well, and I feel like I'd rather they tell me, like, do this a little bit less than, like, okay, we need more from you anyway. So,
yeah.
Do you find, Oh, sorry, no.
I was doing self-tape with Andy. He was doing the self-tape, and he added something at the end. He's like, I'm just going to do that now. Like, I'm just going to at least have fun also doing this because there's so many self-tapes, and there's so many more people doing the self-tape. So how do you get, separate from everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like when you're watching self-tapes, too, you can tell when people are really enjoying themselves. And, like, that's somebody, ultimately, it's someone to act for this commercial or this show or whatever. It's also like choosing somebody to work with. Like, you're going to have to just have a working relationship with them. So if they enjoy what they do and they're bringing that to the self-tape, I don't know, I feel like you can tell when someone's enjoying themselves and having fun with it. And, like, you want to work with those people because you want to have fun too. Yeah. Feels contagious too.
Yeah. And there's this line too of them asking a lot of you sometimes in some of these, and how far do you let yourself go? Because I'm like, well, I'm already here anyways. So if I'm going to make the self-tape, I may as well do what they say.
Yeah.
But then it's like this line of being taken advantage of. So it's just like this thing of like, so sometimes if I don't want to do like edit, there was one where they're like, okay, now do a wide shot, but make it do your opening and do a wide shot all in 4 seconds. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Who can do that?
Yeah.
I'm Sarah. Like, I can't do that.
Oh, they wanted you to say your name for that, and then zoom
like
out
3
wide
or 4
shot
things, and then do a zoom out wide
and
shot.
all 4 seconds.
Like, under 4 seconds. And I was like,
no,
I can't talk that way. I can't say hi that So it's this game you play of trying to. So I've given into just like giving in to what I'm doing instead of just. It's hard. It's hard because you're like, sometimes like, I don't want to do this, so I'm just going to put in whatever. But then I'm like, well, I'm here. I should give it my best shot. Or why am I doing this? Like, why are any of us here then? And like, I always do that. And then it's like.
And then you've ended up like accidentally recording that, and you watch it back, and you're like, well, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, if I as well do this. I know. It is sometimes. I find when I get a self-tape or get an audition, my first reaction is dread. Like, my first thing is like, oh God, what am I going to have to rearrange? Like, schedule-wise, who do I disappoint? What am I disrupting? But then once I actually like set up the camera and get the outfit on and I get there, I always want to play longer than I had anticipated. Like, I always enjoy it so much more. It's like, this is what I wanted to do anyway, pretending to do this thing and finding this funny angle to do in it. And I don't know. I feel like the idea of all of it is a lot more
daunting. It's very daunting, and it's I always have the feeling of like dread that you're talking about, and I always remind myself I feel this way every time. I feel this way every time. And then Andy and I were having a laugh though when I was his reader, because I was like, it was a male part. And I was like, I wonder if they'll hear me and want me for the movie. And then Andy's like, I think that every time, Sarah. And I'm like, does everyone think when they're being a reader that it's like, they're going to hear me and want me to?
I mean, maybe. I get my partner sometimes to read for me just because it's convenient. We live together.
Yeah.
And he's not an actor, but he has such incredible instincts with his line delivery. It like blows. Sometimes I break. Like sometimes I've had a self-tape where I'm recording with him and he says a line and I just have to stop and be like, wow, that was such a I didn't even think about saying the line that way. So sometimes I think like they're going to ask who my reader is and they're going to ask to hire him. And I'm going to be like, he's not an actor, but if you want him.
If it's ever happened that a reader, they've just heard the voice of a reader. Or if it's never happened and we all think it can happen.
I was doing a scene and I had a coach call out my reader and say that they were being selfish and distracting, that they were putting too much into it and like pulling focus from me and that they're making it about them. And
that very well could be me most of the time. That could be. Oh, buddy, I just thought like I might have done that to Andy on the weekend. I was having a hoot with my part. Yeah.
I think
it was a man. I couldn't book it for sure.
So you're like, nothing to lose except for Andy's job, but let's see, nothing to lose. I think though, like if it helps, I mean, the whole point of the reader is to support the actor. So like if you reading that way, however you were, like helps him have more fun or him be in the moment, then whatever, you're being a great reader. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm perfect.
Yeah, and then you're perfect. And then you're perfect.
Yeah.
Speaking of perfect, this was a great segue. Can we talk about your character work in comedy? Because you are incredible at inhabiting characters, like the characters that you play. And I don't know, you just approach all your characters with such nuance. It is very intimidating to. I've been like, how the fuck? I'm not going to do a character. Get Sarah Hillier to do a character. Like, what am I doing? So what are kind of like your favorite characters to play or your favorite kind of characters to play, do you think?
Favorite kind? I like someone in my like gut, like stuff like this. I love like our base level human instincts characters.
Yeah.
And that's been like Goblin and stuff like that, like things that are grotesque and gross. I love to play gross things and wild things. I think and I love anything that like is an easy base for me to improvise from. I like to improvise, obviously, most of the time more than write anything. So, and I find those that are like gut, which I think I perform from the most anyways. So I find that the easiest to kind of draw from.
Why do you think you're like drawn to those characters that are very like primal or guttural? I
think because it's for one, a reference level we can all connect to a bit, because we all have that in us. So I find maybe I connect with the audience on that level. And I think they're a fun part. Maybe it's because being like a petite woman, people look at me a certain way. So I do the thing that's gross because I'm either trying to be funny and make them laugh because it's unexpected, I think sometimes. But also it's kind of like, fuck you, I can do this like gross character for you guys at the same time. Which is also like a thing people like to watch somebody doing. It's not just because I'm like, trying to
fuck you guys.
Like it's not political.
Yeah.
It's like I think audiences like a gross little character coming from like a little redhead on stage.
Well, and I mean, like you said, like what is the point of us being here? And like I don't know. I'm like, well, if you're going to go perform something and you can be anything, if you're going to create a character or improvise and you can be anything, why not be the thing that maybe in everyday life people don't always give you permission to be or give you space to be?
I think opposites are like a huge fun thing to play. And I think especially as like sketch and improv, it's really fun to play because I think a lot of like stand-ups play kind of heightened versions of themselves or characters of themselves sometimes or whatever, but they're pretty close because you're doing all these jokes and it's got to be hard to keep that up, so it's probably a little easier to keep it up. But if you're just like improvising a thing, it's fun to play an opposite. I mean, I don't know if it's actually opposite of me. I'm kind of like that,
but I guess opposite of like,
yeah,
what people would judge right off the bat if they didn't know you at all or something. Seeing like, yeah, totally. Well, and I feel like whenever I see you on stage, you just seem so like fearless and you just go for it. Is there what are things that you feel shy or nervous about doing or talking about on stage? Is there anything? Is there subject matter or like the type of characters that make you nervous to play? Other than like, well, actually, no, never mind. No, I was gonna be like, other than problematic characters, but those are actually really fun because you're playing a character. So no,
I think they'll scare me though. Yeah, I am afraid of if I'm playing a problematic character, saying something wrong or hurting someone's feelings. I think I'll go for it, but those would be the things. When I was on Second City, the thing that made me the most nervous was like I did like a improv character by myself. And that always doing things, I still do it, but those things would make me the most nervous, not having the support of other players around me.
Oh, interesting.
Doing things solo.
Yeah.
For sure. And I do it, but I do group stuff way more.
Yeah. And is it just the worry that like, oh God, if this goes south? What's the worry if you're up there by yourself?
I think like if it's not going well, what do I grab onto? Like what is the thing that's going to save me from this feeling of dread and horribleness that's happening? When you're with people, you share it. Like you share even though like often you can be the person that's fucking it up and everyone else is improvising fine and you're the one that is having an off night. So you could be the reason. And I've been that reason, but like I have stand-up ideas and I haven't bit the bullet. I did it when I was younger and I did good. I was fine. But I just naturally gravitated towards improv and sketch. And I think I like it the most, but now I'm like kind of interested in, now that I'm a mom and I have all these like, again, like reference level of like motherhood, I feel like is for on one side, like parents would connect with the things I've experienced in the past like 4 years, but also me being a bit of a gremlin goblin talking about this kind of stuff to people who don't have kids might be interesting for them too. So I'm just kind of like, I have some jokes I want to do, so I might do stand up. I don't know.
I would love to watch you do stand up. I think that would be great.
Give me a couple times out.
Okay. All right. This is everybody listening, watching. If you gotta, but we need like a real good stand-up show if you're gonna get Sarah.
I need a supportive one. That always has a good crowd.
Yeah.
Because I think what I want to do is just be like, I'm this kind of comedian. I'm doing this for the first time. Let's try out my jokes together.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of atmosphere I'd want to do it in.
Yeah.
For the first few times. But I saw Anessa's stand-up set, Anessa Frantowski's, her album recording, and it was just so kind of different than other stand-ups, was so funny. And it was inspiring to see that. And I was like, okay, that inspires me to maybe try my own kind of way of doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's what's fun is, well, it comes back to the self-tape thing of like finding, and like commercial audition, like finding your own way to do it. You don't have to do like the broad version of stand-up. It's whatever it means for you.
And I found also with self-tapes, I was really stuck on how I looked for a long time. And I would like pick a position for my face to be in that I was comfortable. And then I would keep that position and now I'm just like, I can't do that.
Yeah. So just like not move your head at all.
Let's just get it done. Take after take after take. I remember for Working Moms, there was this one time it took so many takes. And it was just like, it for sure took away from the performance because I was just way more worried about how I looked.
Yeah, unless it's like this character, one of their specific traits is they don't move. Like it's hard to feel like a real human being. What do you think, like in terms of being more focused or aware of how you were looking on self-tapes? Was that just because like the audition process, moving from being in person to being self-tapes, you have to like edit your own face so much?
100%. 100%. I never thought of it at all before.
Yeah.
And I think it really stopped me from booking stuff during the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
I was just so... I remember doing a callback on Zoom, and during it, I kept playing with my bangs. Because I could see that they were all messed up. And now I just don't even...
Yeah. It's like,
I
they'll
like
fix
stare
it on
at myself while I do it. Because I do like my own selfie camera. And I just... and I don't even... It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I did a Zoom callback where it was on my iPad. It was like a smaller screen. And what I was trying to do was make it so I only saw the director and I didn't see me.
Yes, that's good.
I do like, though, I find it helpful seeing like even just a small square of myself so that I can tell like that I'm center frame, like that I can, especially if I'm going to like enter frame or I'm going to move around or whatever. But for whatever reason, I had like updated the Zoom app and I fucked it up and I could only see myself. I like locked myself full screen and the director was talking and I didn't want to look at myself as I listened. So then I didn't look. I looked off to the side because I didn't. And then I'm like, this guy thinks, this guy thinks I don't even fucking care. I ended that call back. I literally walked into my bedroom where my partner was, our bedroom. And we've only lived together a couple of years. I'm still saying my bedroom, our bedroom. And I just basically, he's like, how did it go? I'm like, nope. It did not.
That's how I felt. I was like, I played with my bangs the whole time.
Yeah. It's not happening.
But now I find watching myself helps with my acting and like, I'm totally comfortable now with myself. But I wasn't for a while.
Yeah.
But now I don't care as much because now that's the only way we do commercial at least.
Yeah.
Actually, the first one for kind of everything, I think, is...
Yeah. I feel like everyone's just kind of moved towards it. So, yeah, it's kind of just something I'm like, well, I just have to get comfortable with this.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of cool noticing different habits that I didn't know I had when I speak. Like, I realize I put my chin up a lot, and it's fucking distracting. Like, when I see myself, so now I'm like, oh, okay, chin down so that you look a little more like a human being. And in real life, it's probably fine. But on camera, it looks strange. So it'll just save me when I get on set, not lifting my chin up.
I have a couple things. I like move my lips in weird ways, or I blink a lot.
I blink a lot. That one's great. That could be a character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that one. Yeah. So in terms of, you're talking about since you became a mom and wanting to do stand up, and you've spoken about like in previous podcasts or like interviews about how important and helpful shared experiences can be, and how like pregnancy, motherhood, postpartum, you just don't really hear a lot of people talking about that. And that's something that really resonated with me, because like being an actor plus being able to be a mom and like be happy is something that really terrifies me. Like I often look to people like you and Paloma, and I just think like, okay, look, those are people who both of the partners are artists and they're doing it. Like, you guys bought a house. I'm like, how the fuck is that happening? So why do you think people don't talk about pregnancy and motherhood and postpartum very much? What do you think
I don't know.
that is?
I think our industry is made to believe that like it is hard, and I see a lot of my peers not, or being scared to do it, so they don't do it for a long time, and then they don't end up doing it because they thought it would be hard. And Andy and I talked about it for a long time, and then we decided to do it. I don't know why it's not talked about, but what I'll say about it is, for anyone kind of wondering about kids and this business, for me personally, my point of view is that our jobs are as actors and actresses and everything are up and down with joy, like high highs and low lows, no matter kind of what level you're at. And it's not consistent. You can't like rely on it for joy, but for a long time, it's a big part of our joy because it's our job, it's our career. And then when I had kids, I found kids gave me this consistent joy. So then I didn't rely, I still do my job and I still like shooting for the moon with my job, but I don't rely on my job only for my joy. And now it's like and Andy's joy too, for sure. He brings joy. But it's like kids are this different level of joy that just is consistent. And I think it's kind of a gift for actors to have something like that, because our jobs are so irregular and like weird. So if that helps at all. I find it just like brings me joy. It's hard, but like, I don't know. We kind of have these jobs where we get also time off and it's like not the same kind of schedule. So sometimes it's easier for us to have kids. Sometimes. Because we don't have the 9 to 5.
Yeah. I would love that. Like in having kids and then coming back to auditioning and acting and in what ways were things harder and what ways were things easier? Because I'm sure, like you said, like I'm sure there's both. So
yeah, I'd say harder at the very beginning. Like when I had Harry, I had a C-section, so I had 8 weeks, and then right when I came back, I had been requested for a commercial, and I was like, "Whew, that's right when I'm allowed to like start working again."
Wow,
because it's 6 weeks for a vaginal birth and it's 8 weeks for a C-section. Is kind of what you're supposed to wait to let yourself heal.
Yeah, is this like during that period you need to be healing, no lifting, no, like, is it that kind of, or is
no lifting? Like, I think some people go, like, people in the States don't really have maternity leave, so I think sometimes they go back to work in those times, but you're supposed to let your body rest during that time and hold nothing bigger than the baby and stuff like that, and there's levels of when you can work out and when you can drive and all that, depending on your incision, depending on what happened. But with C-section, it's like 8 weeks, because it's like a pretty major surgery.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 weeks is pretty much the time you want to take. And at 8 weeks, they wanted me to come back. So I was like, okay. But it was really soon to be coming back. And I was like pumping in between takes. And they weren't really giving me the time to pump and giving me the food to create breast milk. Knowing, like, they did, like, because we're like, okay, that's fine. And it's pretty normal to be like, I need a pumping room to pump privately, and they gave me like a dressing room in the place I was in where you could, like, I was sitting in there and there was like the holes at the top and the bottom of the door, and it's just your
oh no, it wasn't even like a separate dressing, like a green room. It was just like a dressing room, like at a
because I was like in a grocery store. So it was like a dressing room. Anyways, so in that way it was okay, but in the other way, it was one day, and I got to make cash right away, which was great because we don't have regular maternity leaves because we're gig performers. And I think the things that have made it easier for me is I like to go back to the joy thing. I'm not as desperate inside the audition room for this to bring me my joy. I am for money, give me money always, but I'm not as like hungry for that. Like, this is all I need, like, have in front of me to kind of fill my cup. Yeah. I have something filling my cup. I have my family filling my cup. So, like, this helps me with this, and I get to do this. But also, like, being a stage performer, I think we also fill up our cup that way, too. So it's a little different when you're inside the audition room, because you're like, well, at least I have a show tonight if this goes bad, and I can, like, feel good about myself again.
I hadn't even thought about about it being like, because I think it is really easy to start feeling like the only thing I have in my life, or the only thing that matters or brings me joy, is like my last show or the audition or the gig, and having something that matters so much more on like a cellular level that brings you joy, that is separate. I didn't even think about it that way. It does make me feel a little better. Yeah,
and the accomplishment of children too is like somebody else decides what we get accomplished career-wise. Yeah, we try, like, we set things up, like we do podcasts, we do stuff like that. That's in our control. But for the film and TV work and the commercial work, that's up to somebody else. So kids is something that you accomplish, and people always ask me, what am I surprised with kids? And it's that we can all do it. Like, we can all have kids and be fun. They're not that expensive. At least one. I have 2. It's a little more expensive. Still not that bad. As long as you imagine, like, we could all live before. You can definitely live with kids too. And they're great.
Oh, what surprised you about pregnancy that you hadn't known before?
Just how uncomfortable it is.
Pregnancy terrifies me, Sarah. The whole idea of it freaks me out. It's like, and I think it's so
It is a blip,
cool, but
it's a blip of time.
Okay.
It goes pretty fast.
Yeah?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not for what you get it. Like, I had a not great first pregnancy. Not the worst. People have much worse, but it wasn't amazing. I had a lot of pain. It's something called an aging placenta.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
what is an aging plus? Is it like Benjamin Button?
Calcified,
opposite.
It's opposite. It's a calcifying placenta. So they had to like check it all the time, and I had a lot of pain because he was really low like the whole time, and it was just and I had to like a lot of doctor's visits, and it was just uncomfortable and blah. And then I did it again, so it shows you that like I didn't forget it. But because of the outcome, I was willing to do it again.
I mean, Harry's very cute, so.
He's very cute. Yeah, it was worth it. And then he convinced me to have his brother.
Yeah.
A real little cute.
Who's also so cute. God, you and Andy make cute kids. So you had talked about, like, in terms of self-esteem and body image post-pregnancy, and this was on the Self-Esteem Party podcast of Alana. Yeah. And you had said that you were like, no, I actually hated my body more before having kids than after having kids. Because Alana, the host of the podcast, was asking you like about how pregnancy and having kids influenced your self-esteem. So how did having kids help you love your body even more than previously?
I think like I always say like I just care how my face looks and I don't care how the rest of my body looks.
Like, have you always been like that? Like you just always felt that way?
No. Like I've like people care about like how their stomach looks after kids, and I'm like, not at all. I like stretched out completely twice. Like what my body just won't look the same. And I don't know if it's because I'm a comedian or whatever, and I don't think my body should matter, but I don't think anyone's body should matter really. But sometimes in different positions in what we do, people are shitty. And like if you're like a romance actress, maybe they're going to care a little more, but I'm just a comedian. Like who cares what I look like? But yeah, I think I just like, I don't know what kind of the switch was. I think it was just that I went through all of that and my body did all that, which sounds kind of corny and everyone says that. But I actually like my stomach doesn't bother me at all. And my stomach's great. Like I'm not, but it's changed. Like my body looks very different. And I just am comfortable with that part of it. Sometimes in pictures, I still don't like how I look, all that kind of stuff. It's not like I'm not completely accepting of myself at all, but I don't look at myself and think I'm gross or anything. But my body to some people might be because it's like different. Because it's like, I have the hanging skin. I have all that stuff that I did not have before. So
I think it is fucking incredible what like our bodies do when they are creating and like cooking a human being and then giving life to a human being. Like it's actually something that I can't fully comprehend that's
and I couldn't
able
either.
to happen.
My first pregnancy, it was very hard to imagine what having a baby was like, that I was having a baby, like that this led to that.
Yeah.
And at all what that would be like. And the only advice I can give with that is like, and then when you have it, it's like blows your mind that you have to take care of a baby for like that you have this baby now and it's such intense responsibility and you love it so much, but it's such intense responsibility. Yeah. And you're just like, whoa. And then like 3 weeks later, it's like, yep, this is just life now. But at the beginning, me and Andy were like, whoa, look at what this is happening. And I don't think there's a way to prepare. Maybe that's why people don't talk about it, because there's no way to prepare it. Yeah. But breastfeeding's really hard, and if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Yeah. That's my other advice.
Yeah. I know. I see my mom friends so often. Like, I feel like it's so quick moving to like self-judgment or like, oh, maybe there's so many like, oh, maybe I should. And I'm like, you know what's the best gift to your baby? It's like how you care for yourself. Like, what do you? They get to see how to treat themselves by how you treat yourself. So. And like make all the mistakes you want. You don't have to be like mental health perfect, whatever. But
no, you're not. You're never gonna be.
No, if it's super stressful and painful for you to breastfeed, that's not gonna be an enjoyable experience for your baby anyway. So you do
and it's like it really doesn't matter. I stopped breastfeeding with Harry at like 5 or 6 months, my first. And I felt so guilty that I didn't go a year. No. And then with Owen at 3 months, I'm like, this isn't working out anymore. We're done.
Bye.
We're done. Owen. And he was a really big baby, so I was like, thank God I wasn't breastfeeding him at like 6 months. He would have been huge.
Yeah, you're like, you're big enough, Owen. Calm down.
Just like it would have been like me holding this huge, like he still was huge, doesn't matter. Formula, breast milk, he was up for anything.
Yeah.
And I would have been holding this huge baby. On my boob. I'm personally not someone who's like I feel connected in every way without needing that as part of it. It was nice to experience it. It was beautiful, especially those first 3 months with both of them, but I didn't need it to continue. And like scientifically, it doesn't really matter at that point. Or it doesn't really matter at all. I saw this person from, I don't know if you watch Bachelor at all, but Ashley.
I used to.
Canetti or something. Like of Ashley and Jared. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she just decided not to breastfeed. And I think that's a great decision. And I was like, yes. And she had a great time.
Because she didn't. Great time.
Yeah, because it's like you've made the decision, so you're not failing at it.
Yeah.
What a great decision.
Yeah. And I think, too, I mean, when people jump on other people's parenting decisions, I'm like, I feel like often it's behind this disguise, that's my opinion of it, of like, we just care about the baby. And I'm like, no, this is about you. You don't care about Ashley's baby that much. Like, come on.
Yeah,
you don't even know her. You don't know her baby. Like,
Well, and it's always people who are probably insecure about whatever decisions they made. Or maybe they pushed through something like that when they were feeling mentally awful. So then they're like, everyone should do this.
Yeah,
and it's
like a resentment
you can do that
on their
if you
end.
want to.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. And I had people for all over the place with Harry being like, oh, you're done? And I'm like, well, I did it for 5.5 months.
Also, if you did it for 0 months, like, yeah, I'm done. I don't know what your layer of judgment is. Yeah. And also, it's not done. I'm not doing it. It doesn't need to have started. Like, what is up with you? Like, here is my therapist card. Calm down.
But it's like everything, people are so invasive. I'll say that when you're pregnant. And when you have kids, people ask you a lot of personal questions. Someone asked me at my shower in Ottawa, how much weight have you gained? And I was like, I don't know. Well, how much did you weigh before? And I'm like,
oh, wow. They doubled down and had a follow-up
They wanted
question?
the number. They wanted to figure out the number.
They're like, well, I brought a scale. So how much did you weigh before? Let's weigh you now. That's ridiculous. That is something where, like, I don't want people touching my pregnant stomach. Like, I don't want them touching my body. And I also get uncomfortable when people just, like, grab other people's kids. And it's
Yeah.
It really depends on your relationship with the parent and the kid. I'm not saying nobody should ever grab another kid. Like, there are people in my life where I will grab their children. I just mean when it's like, oh, wait, a stranger as you're walking by with a stroller. And if it's like, oh, they're so cute and they're touching their face. And I'm like, whoa. I don't even like that when people used to do that to my dog. Like, don't touch my dog. So
yeah, I was at the grocery store. Owen's like almost 2, and he was upset. And then a woman who worked there was like, "What's wrong?" and like patted his head. And I was like, "Don't touch him. He's fine.
Don't pat another human being. What are you doing?
He can cry in your Loblaws. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, he is fine. Oh yeah, that's also when I'm like, if any kid is ever crying in public with their parent, I'm just like, my loving energy to all of you. Thank you for all of you keeping each other alive. Good job. Hope everything's
we were
cool.
All babies.
Like,
people who get mad about it, I'm like, someone did it for you.
Yeah.
You were a fucking baby, man.
You were screaming in a Loblaws one day too. And like,
we were
you're
all
fine.
babies.
We were all screaming in Loblawses. Okay, so Sarah Hillier, let me see if I can remember. You have won multiple Canadian Comedy Awards. You've been on main stage, Second City, I should not short form that, on Second City main stage twice. You've acted in movies and series and commercials, as we've established, and voiced characters in animation. I feel like you have, like, done everything in a career. And when I was thinking about you, I'm like, I wonder what in an ideal world, I wonder what your dream scenario of your career looks like. Because I'm like, wow, I feel like she has done all the things. Like, what does your dream career look like? What are you doing? Where are you living? What does your life look like?
I think my absolute dream career would be having my own talk show.
Oh, fun.
That's why I've gotten into the podcast. That's why I'm doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what? I've done The Social a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like, just as like a guest, like one of their chairs, that they have, just random, like 2 days. And I was like, I really like that. And in improv, I like doing that sometimes. Like, sometimes you're put in that position to judge or something, or host or something. And I think that would be the dream, to go to work and do that. Or like have your own TV show, I think would be obviously like if I could do an improvised TV show, that would be the other thing.
Oh, fun.
But right now, yeah, like just like full improvised beat-prov TV show. And or my own talk show.
Yeah.
That would be huge. What about you? What's yours?
That's a good question. I didn't even think about it when I was just thinking about your life.
Yeah,
What's my ideal? I mean, I do love talking to people, so I can totally see why that would be incredible. I would love one time in my life to have my own TV show that I also show run. Like, I think it would kill me, and I don't want to do it forever, but I would love to do that for a season once in my life.
That would be huge.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And then I've kind of always, like, whenever I've watched, I mean, it's kind of come from this podcast too, like, interviewing people and talking with people is such a fucking joy, like, getting to connect with people. And it's silly. I should just do it in my everyday life. Like, if you're a person that I've wanted to be like, hey, do you want to grab a drink for 10 years? I should probably just do that. I don't need to start a podcast to do that. But, you know, baby steps. So this is very enjoyable to me. And I think doing some form of this, whether it's like a radio show or something where I get to just like connect with other people and talk to other people and just learn about how other people's brains work. I don't know what that looks like. Like, that could be a talk show. It could be a radio show. It could be continuing to be a podcast. But yeah, I love doing that. And I wouldn't mind doing it with like a co-host partner who's different than me. I think that would bring so much to the table, because in these conversations, obviously, like, my brain might guide them, be the constant. So I'd love to have like a co-host with me. Yeah.
It's especially in like a TV setting, because I've done some podcasts with people, and sometimes just organizing with each other is hard. Time-wise, if you're not together and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think just like, honestly, my dream would be like the simplest thing I can do for the best reward.
Yeah. And I'd want like a consistent schedule where it's like a you 10 to 2, Monday to Thursday. That's what I'd like.
It would, I think it would be the best.
Yeah.
Those two things, like an improvised show. I would love to write an animation, or like that's dreams too, but like ultimate dream.
Yeah.
Own talk show.
Yeah. Oh God, not the writing of animation, but that is a career dream of mine, is voice acting on an animated series, like a recurring character on an animated series. That has always just been such a dream. Well, okay, what was it? You voice acted on animated series, multiple. So what was it like voice acting in animated
pretty
series?
What you think it is.
Yeah?
Kind of like this. You just go in a room and then you do it.
Yeah.
And I was just a recurring character on BotBots. Not just, but I was a recurring character on BotBots. And it was really fun. And they often get you, because they can, under the union, get you to do like 1 or 2 lines for somebody else on the same day. So you'd get to be other random little characters in it too. So, I mean, that also, I would love to do that. I think there's something though that's happened with our industry where with self-tapes and everything, there's so many people going for the same things. And it's harder and harder to book stuff because you're not in the room. They have so many options. And they have options from all over. Like, people can be... Before, you had to kind of have this as like your full-on gig to get some opportunities. Not all opportunities. You could still be like kind of doing it on the side to get some. But some, you had to be a full actor or actress. And now it's a little different. Like, everybody can kind of send stuff in. And a lot more people have come to it over this time. So I feel like there's all this lack of control in what we do. So I find like I really love doing that animation stuff, but I feel like, and I still put out for it all the time, but I feel like now they have so many options because everybody can record at home and everybody like feels hard. That feels daunting. It was fun. It feels super daunting. I just want to control it myself somehow, you know?
Yeah, I know. I know. I feel like this is like the hardest. I mean, honestly, that's what freaks me out about pregnancy is the loss of control. It's not even like body changing
Yes.
necessarily. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll get into, but the loss of control. And I
There's a loss of control.
yeah, it's like something's happening and I can't stop it and I'm not in control. And I think with this industry, like that is often my main thing that I'm trying to figure out is like, how do I keep my life my own and not just like taken over by everybody else? My schedule taken over by, oh, here's an audition. So like you change your evening and that's fine, but you don't want that. It's not good for you all the time. And yeah, so that whole like control part, that's a really hard part of figuring out how to balance still feeling like your life is your own.
Do you think you want kids? Can I ask that on this?
I think, yeah, absolutely. You can ask me. When I was younger, I really thought I did. And then as I got older, I feel like it was the first time I allowed myself to even like entertain the idea of not having kids.
Yeah.
And I loved that idea. And then sort of where I still am now of like, I feel like anyone who, okay, I feel like being raised as a woman, as a girl to a woman, I was like constantly told just indirectly, like you should want kids. Like you want kids. Everybody wants kids. The default is you want kids.
When we were younger, it was like, you'll be a mom.
Yeah.
You'll have kids. Where do kids come from?
All of it.
Those were all our conversations. How many kids do you want to have? A million.
Like it wasn't, do you want kids? It was, how many kids do you want? 100%. Yeah. And it wasn't, I feel fortunate that like it was, what do you want to be when you grow up? How many kids do you want? It was both of them. It wasn't like you can't have a career, but it was never, and if you didn't want a kid, it was like, oh, maybe you just have some trauma you need to work through. Like it was some sort of like problem. And so I kind of went like, I don't want to have a kid and then realize I never wanted a kid. So I really wanted...
That was a fear I had.
Yeah.
I had a fear like I wouldn't connect. Because you hear about those stories of women who felt they needed to, and then they don't feel connected afterwards. But I think that is definitely more of past generations. Like you're already having a lot more thoughts about if you want to or not. And you're a young lady. I don't know how old you are, but you seem younger than me even, and so you have time to still like
so I'm telling myself
what you want to do.
I'm 33 and I said I was like I'm like I have till 35 to even think about it. That's what I've told myself.
Yes,
because I guess what I want to
you can always freeze your eggs.
Hey, book a big job, freeze my eggs, you know.
And then you have the choice for as long as you want. And it's like, I love having kids, but I don't think everyone needs to have them. Yeah. I had a friend talking to me about kids, and I was like, do you want kids? And then the other person with us was like, does everyone have to? I was like, no, but they asked me about it. So when somebody asks me about it in a certain way, I'm like, you want kids? I can tell. But also, like, I don't know. People are happy without as well. Yeah. And there is like a loss of control. Control is a good way in some ways when you're pregnant, when you have kids. But then you kind of have it, like, I find like I've amped up how I am in a lot of ways than how I was before. I'm more organized than I was. Still not very organized. But I'm better at all those things because of kids than I was before. Because I had to be. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because they're relying. There's like there's a term for that. I can't remember. I was listening to something the other day where they're just talking about like when someone or something that is very meaningful to you, like requires something of you, you might be more likely to do it than maybe if you require it and you're like, nah, but I don't really require it. I'm fine. I don't need to be organized. But if it's like, I got to be organized for Harry and Owen, that's a non-negotiable. Like you're going to do it. The house will get to a point where I'm like, I have to clean it. This has to happen now. Because I can't have it be messier than this for children. So, and I have to make a decent dinner every night. Not just me. Andy makes most of the meals. But we have to have these things. We have to have, for me, the big thing that was like, I got it, is lunch. I was like, when they're not in daycare, you're like, I got to make lunch for him and breakfast every morning. Because I never did that for myself before. I would have girl dinner kind of stuff all the time. And for kids, it's like, no, which makes me feel more accomplished. For me personally, which I think I didn't even know I needed before. I mean, it definitely, I can imagine, like, it gives you
it requires of you like a certain structure and consistency and stability that I think is good for any human being. So if you're doing it for kids, then you get the residuals of that, of like you are also maybe having lunch, or you just have the routine of every day you're making lunch. So I think there are so many, like I love kids. I don't have any biological like nieces and nephews, but my friends, like I'm obsessed with my nieces, my pseudo nieces and nephews. And often people will say like, oh, you love kids, like to my partner and I. My partner also loves kids. Like, you guys should have them. And it's so different going and hanging out with a niece of mine versus having my own. I think what I want to do, and I don't know if this is like even possible, I want to unbrainwash myself and then see for myself, because I want to feel like it's my choice. And lately I am leaning more towards, my partner and I was just talking about this, like we're leaning more towards that we both do, because for years we were both unsure. We think we do want kids.
Same with us.
Yeah.
That was the same with us. We had big talks, and it took us about a year of talking about it, thinking we did, but not knowing and really talking about it. And then we hung out with a friend's baby, and it was like the click that we both needed. But it was not, and it was the same for the second. We talked about it for a while. It wasn't ever a for sure thing. And I think that's why I was nervous, like, how will I react as a mom? Because it wasn't like I knew this was going to happen the whole time. I love kids, and I'm very lucky because it can be very hard to have kids. That's the other side of it. Is then sometimes you don't know you want it, and then you decide you want it, and then it's hard to make it happen.
And they're like, well, you should have started 10 years ago. And you're like, I wasn't ready. I mean, for me too, I think with getting older, definitely there's there's the aspect of like, well, maybe I'm making it less likely that I can biologically have kids. But I think also it's just my parents getting older. That's the only bummer for me. Like, I don't, once I know I want them, I don't want to wait too long to try and have them, because I'd like my parents to be the youngest grandparents they can be for them and my kids. But otherwise,
and that's helpful. That's helpful.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I even was like, Andy's dad is older. And before I start training, I'm like, how you will be your dad's age when, like, it almost matches up soon. Let's do this, because you know, like, when you put it kind of in that perspective of like how old you'll be when they're a certain age.
Totally.
So it's like, but I was 33 when I got pregnant with her, and I was 34 when I had him. And that was good. And then with Owen, I was 36, and I was like, Andy wanted to, but I was like, we either kind of do it now or we don't, because I want to be done being pregnant. I wanted that like part of my life to be over.
Yeah, I'm ready for that part. Well, and that's such a huge part of it that I think I do feel a little resentful that it has to be me. That like I have to be pregnant and I have to give birth and I have to.
And they don't, like, Andy was incredibly supportive, incredibly helpful partner, but nobody, no people who can't carry don't understand the feeling of it and how it takes over your body and like what it does. But again, Owen was a little easier than her. He's a little easier.
He's a little easier than that. Aw. So, going back to being on the social, I saw your post about it, and you looked beautiful, by the way, on there. You always have such cute outfits. So on the social, first of all, when I think about going on the social, because I've seen some of like people in the community and stuff going on, right?
They're liking comedians like right now, like popping on, and
like I think who was it? Like you, and I think I saw this a while ago, like Lisa Gilroy or like Natalie Metcalf, like people going on, and I always think like I don't know, I would be really excited and then also really nervous. So how did you like stay yourself going on there and not be too freak out?
I think the performance part of you clicks in once you're in those situations.
Right.
But I was really nervous.
Yeah.
Really nervous. I always get really nervous the night before something like that. And then on the day, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Unless it's an audition. Like if I have an in-person audition where I have to remember a bunch of lines, I'm nervous right up until I'm done. Like lines scare me. But just like talking and knowing I was afraid of like saying something wrong or something and having like people see me and not like what I said, for sure. But I think on the day I was just a little less nervous.
Yeah.
And then once they're really nice too.
Mm.
They like are very accepting because I guess they're very used to people coming in, and they're very nice people.
Mm.
And they were just super welcoming, which really made me feel better. I knew a couple people who worked on set, the costume designer and the audience person. I knew them, so that helped too.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I was like, I have some familiar faces.
Yeah.
So that helped me. And then they were all and then it felt just normal because they were so normal. And they were like, yep, you're supposed to be here. Like, they made me feel that way. So I think when you feel that way, I didn't have imposter syndrome there because they were so welcoming. So I was like, okay, great. I'm like worthy of being here.
And so if you like, when you picture your own talk show, do you picture something like that where you have like you and other people, or do you picture you solo interviewing people?
I think either or, like just some kind of job like that would be great. I think ultimately, I would, like a Drew Barrymore show without being a scab.
Oh, man. Okay, Sarah, can I ask you, does scab stand for something that I'm an idiot and don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, great. It's all over TikTok. No, people are calling her scab.
Yeah, because scab is like going against crossing picket lines. I know that.
Oh, that's what a scab means.
Yeah, so it can be, that's for any union. Teachers union, all the unions. If you cross the picket line and go back to work, you are a scab.
You're called a scab. Got it.
So, and the whole argument with Drew was that, and now that she decided not to, but was that people didn't know there were writers. So her and what she does and what some of the producers who do write a lot of the show, they are not WGA, so they wouldn't necessarily be scabs. But then there are like 3 or 4 WGA writers on her show, then that makes her a scab. Because then her show is crossing picket lines. Right. Well, no, she wouldn't force them back, I don't think. But I think the fact that it's a WGA show like, basically that's enough to make it that.
Right.
I think.
I see.
That then she is. I read it on Impact. You know that there's a Instagram called Impact.
No.
They explain a lot of stuff to me.
Okay. I'm going to follow it because I was literally on TikTok seeing Drew Barrymore like apologizing, but I didn't know details. And so then I was like, okay, hold on. At first
it was like, yeah, and then it's like, oh, yes, there's hundreds of people who work on her show, so that's who she's trying to bring back. But also, it's very bad for the greater good of the thousands of writers that are striking. Yeah. And so, but it was, the only thing that was kind of weird about it is that, like, tons of shows were going to go back. The View was going to go back, or it's still going. There are a bunch of shows that were going back, but she was the one that was singled out. Equally wrong. Right. Deserves it. But all of them do. Like, I don't get why, like, the talk wasn't gonna, they pulled back as well, but nobody was shitting on them the way they were shitting on Drew.
Yeah, all over TikTok, it was like Drew Barrymore as a scab. And I was like, what is a scab? I should have just Googled it. I was just like, I don't understand what's going on. But that makes sense because I did know about, like, she wanted to bring the show back, but WGA is still striking. So, like, what are you doing? And yes, absolutely. Okay, well, now I learned something new. And maybe I'll follow Impact on Instagram also.
Yeah, it's good. It really helps me feel like I know things. I
was thinking...
Has those perfect info pictures or whatever they're called.
Oh, that's what I need. I was literally thinking the other day, like, where should I go for my news? Like, I need a news source that I trust.
Well, now we don't get news on Instagram in Canada because Trudeau wanted to charge Instagram money to pay the Canadian news outlet, so we don't get news anymore. They're just like, fine, we're not doing that. You don't get news. Sorry, I'm burping from my drink.
That's fine. Did they post? Wait, did you learn that on Impact? Like, I need to follow Impact.
No, I think I learned that through maybe the news.
Just like
I don't watch
regular
the news every night.
Yeah.
But it might have been the actual news.
Yeah.
So you can't post about news. Oh. And you can't anything like that. So like you can post from sources like Impact because that is not like CBC or CTV. But like any newspapers or anything, articles aren't able to link anymore to Instagram, as far as I know.
Well, goddamn. Okay.
Yeah. Sucks. Weird. That's weird to me.
Yeah, it is weird. And also, I need a news outlet because I can't get my news. I can't be like, hi, guest of the podcast.
Reels.
Like, tell me the news of the world. Like, I need to up my. Yeah, I was listening to the podcast The Daily for a while. But it's so American focused that like, and it's still interesting.
How long is it?
That's a good question because I stopped listening. Maybe 20 minutes. You know what? I'm going to lie to you. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But not like an hour.
Yeah.
Daily podcast. I feel like it's 20 to 25 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sped up.
Some of those podcasts.
Yeah.
Andy says he doesn't like short podcasts because then what are you going to listen to after it? That's what he feels.
Fair. So fair. So fair. Okay. So, to wrap up today, I would love to ask. Oh, first of all, I'm wearing this sweater for you. I don't know if you watch Vanderpump because it's overly produced and stupid, but it is a sweater from some of the people in Vanderpump Rules, and I was like, oh, I need to wear a reality TV related shirt for you today.
I've been to Sir, but I don't watch I love her.
Lisa Vanderpump. Okay.
Lisa Vanderpump.
Okay, you love her.
I find she seems the most natural out of every single housewife.
She is. Okay, yeah. I feel very much like she is opportunistic, which I'm not judging because go at it.
Yes.
But in a way, like she doesn't own it. Like on Vanderpump, often she's like to the team, like we all have to be treating each other better and like, you know, come on, I'm just here to help you. Yeah. And then literally she'll say that. And then she'll say, oh, so and then in the back, oh, so I heard so-and-so, fuck this person and you're dating it. Like she stirs the shit up because she knows it makes her TV better. But love a good businesswoman. Okay.
Yes.
So,
and I love the gossip, the tea that's happened, obviously. I'm all in on all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I still look at all the gossip websites and good gossip website, Neighborhood Talk.
Okay, thank you. I don't
Instagram
read any of them. Okay, I will.
Yeah.
That's a show where my friends who don't watch reality TV have messaged me. I have sent out so many voice notes of like summarizing what's going on Vanderpump Rules because everybody's asking. You know, everyone's asking.
Yeah, that's like
I get it.
I almost feel like you could do a mini podcast just giving people information about that one drama.
Just filling it in.
Just call it Scandoval or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And just plop it and give them what they need.
Just give them what they need. I have essentially started like an unofficial service where friends are like, I would like to get into reality TV or I would like to get into Real Housewives. Where should I start?
Yes.
And then I ask them a bunch of questions and get them in. Yeah.
With Drag Race, I was like, where should I start? We're like season 5.
Yes.
Watch it all and then go back. Do you watch Drag Race?
Yes. Love.
Yes.
Oh, so good. But shows like that, it is like, I guess similar to Housewives, there's so many different ones like UK, Canada, All-Star, like all over the place that it can be overwhelming. So yeah. So I'm often like, all right, what kind of reality TV do you want to watch? Because all the housewives are so different from each other. But for you, if you were to be on a reality show, this could be a competition show or just a life show like Vanderpump or whatever. What kind of reality show? You can create your own. Like what would be the perfect reality show for you to be in?
I think like a Drag Race would be, I'm not a drag queen, I wouldn't be on it, but something like that where you get to perform and you get to do all these other skills and it's I like the competition ones.
Yeah.
And then I'll also say, my husband and I often talk about how we would love to be the Bachelor or Bachelorette because you get to kiss so many people at once.
Right.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You get to you literally in 3 days can have sex with 3 different people. And it's in the fantasy suites and it's what you're supposed to do.
It's a part of the journey. 100%.
Yeah.
Love Island, it's funny. Like Love Island, they are so... The idea is like, oh, you're supposed to date all these people. But then if you aren't, I feel like people get punished for it. It's like, oh, so you were coupled up with this person, but now you kiss this person. And I'm like, you've been coupled up you've known this person for 2 days.
Yeah. Well, and that's Bachelor in Paradise too.
Yeah, that's so true. I don't know if
you watch The Bachelor world at all.
So Bachelor and Bachelorette, I haven't watched in a number of years, but I'm the same with you. I stopped Bachelor for a while. And then, anyway.
They pick boring,
yeah,
boring
I'm like,
guys.
I don't
There's
like
the
this
newest guy.
dude. Yeah.
I like the new guy.
Okay.
Joey is the next guy. He's cute and he's interesting.
Okay.
He's not just like a boring, like football looking guy.
Yeah. But The Bachelor in Paradise, I do watch. And for a while, it was fine because I still knew the people from before. And maybe there was like 4 people I didn't know. I'll still watch it now. And I just don't know anything about the people. And I don't care because Bachelor in Paradise.
Bachelor in Paradise Canada was good this season.
Oh, I didn't see Canada this season.
Wild.
Okay, I'll watch.
Wild.
It's
and
what a
Golden Bachelor.
World. Yeah.
Golden Bachelor.
What's Golden Bachelor?
75-year-old, 77-year-old, 73-year-old bachelor. Oh yeah, starts next week.
Up.
Oh, when you hear this, it already started.
It already started. Oh, I can't wait. Okay, I'll watch that too. I will totally watch that too.
I need to see the drama there, like how people will fight. Oof.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I watched this stupid one. I couldn't finish it. Well, whatever. Did you watch the MILF one? It was so dumb.
No, I didn't watch the MILF one.
It was. I knew it was gonna be so. Whatever. It's just punching down to everyone on the show. And this is
DILF.
This is DILF. So
it's
I'm like
his daughters put him up for it.
Aww.
His 4 daughters.
Wow.
There's already some tea that maybe he's kind of a shit guy, but I think it was. But the daughters is like that he was like cheating on their mom, but the daughters like love him so much. I don't think that was like
okay.
It didn't. You know when people might be like trying to start shit.
Yeah. Like, even just to like start buzz for the show. It's like whatever. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, Golden Bachelor. I love that. I like your idea of a competition show. I've often thought how like there's reality competition shows for like every art discipline except for like acting and improvising.
Yeah, there was Next Comic Up.
Oh,
Comic Standing or whatever.
Comic Standing. Yeah.
Last Comic Standing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for like improv's very hard to capture on film.
Yeah.
Except for Whose Line. Whose Line is like got it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But acting, like scripted acting.
Yeah. Scripted acting, that would be a good one to do.
There was one, because I Googled this, I don't know, so long ago, but there was one reality show. I can't remember the name, Stage something maybe. And it was like 1 season. I can't find it anywhere because I'd love to watch it and be like, oh yeah, this is why this didn't work. But we do everything else. We do modeling, we do glass blowing, we do makeup, hair. Like we do.
Kayla Lorette was in an improv one on CBC when she was like 19.
Oh, do you remember what that one's called?
Ian McIntyre was on it. It's probably on their IMDb.
Oh, I should go. Okay.
But it had like 1 season. And it was with the second city, and whoever won got to be on tour.
No way. That's fucking great. Oh my gosh. Wait, so it was like an improv competition show?
Yeah. I didn't watch it.
Wow.
But I got to know Kayla while she was like finishing it up, and then she moved here. Like, then she stayed. So that's how I got to know her. But she was young. Like, it brought her into the city young.
Wow.
She'd be a great guest. I don't know if you've had her, but
I should reach out.
She would be great.
She also
you should reach out and see if
she's somebody who I'm like, oh damn, you're very good also. And maybe I will. Instantly my hands got sweaty when you were like, oh, maybe Kayla.
You're great. You should never talk to everyone. That's one thing I've always done is I talk to everybody because I just like I've made friends with people who I never thought I'd be friends with because I just talk to them because we're all peers. Like everyone's just peers. That's it. No matter what level. Like I would see Ellen and be like, we're peers.
DeGeneres? That's who we're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know why I picked Ellen.
But you're on first name basis. Do you know what I mean? Because you're a peer.
Yeah, but But we're a peer. Ellen. Yeah, exactly.
Peer, Ellen. I just want to confirm.
At festivals.
Yeah.
At festivals and stuff like that, I'm just like, no, we're all the same.
Yeah.
We're the way Inessa put. We all sit. We all sit. And we all sit on the same chairs.
We all sit. I love that.
We all sit. Just like. Everyone sits, and also what I say, we all have the same garbage cans. We all have the same city garbage cans. Like, no one's got not allowed to have a fancy garbage can. You just got to use the city one.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're all the same.
We all wipe our poops. You're right.
I actually went to Harry's in junior kindergarten, and I talked to the principal for a second at this, like, coffee thing, and I got really nervous to talk to a principal. More nervous than I've ever been to talk to, like, anyone that's, like, an idol of mine or something, but I was sweating.
Why? Why
I was like messing up my words. I was like, I was just like being nerdy and being like, if you ever need like an improv class or something, I can bring it.
You're like offering your skills.
Yeah.
Why do you think you got so nervous with the principal?
Because she's got she's principal.
Oh.
And it's like, you know, you want your kid to have fun. You want them to be comfortable. And,
yeah. You don't want them to be like the kid who's the kid that the principal hates their mom. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You don't want to be the annoying mom.
No.
But you want to show effort. And you want to show that you care. So you want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to be the dreaded word, caring about it. But you want to be like, I care. So you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I'm new to the world. So that's daunting more than anything I ever do performance-wise.
What you just described is how I feel if I like go to talk to you or something where I'm like, I want to show that I'd like to talk, but I also am not going to be annoying about it. I'm not going to be pushy, but I want to know that I would like to be here. And also, it's a minefield.
We'll talk now.
Okay, great.
We'll talk.
Great. I love that. Well, thanks so much, Sarah. It was so awesome chatting with you today.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
It was my pleasure. And I can't wait to message you about Golden Bachelor. We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see how we feel about it. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Liquid Courage podcast. If you liked what you saw and you're looking to support the show, here's a few ways you can help. You can leave the show a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, or you can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at Liquid Courage Podcast. Or, and best of all, you can tell a friend about the show. Tell a family member, tell a coworker, post about your favorite episode online. Spread the word. That really is the best way to help support the show and help it grow. Did I just rhyme? Okay, until the next episode, cheers!